I set myself the challenge to watch every single episode of Doctor Who, from 1963 right up until the modern era. So far we are this far through the 6th Doctor's era, and this far through the show overall. We're in season 23. For the first time since season 16, Doctor Who uses a single arc to define an entire season. Depending on how you count, this is either 4 normal length serials or one really long serial that would be the longest in the entire show's history. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to count it as 4. The framing device for this season is the Doctor being yanked out of time by the Time Lords and taken to a Gallifreyan space station, where he is put on trial for being too violent, too boring, for having crappy effects with no budget, for being too funny and also not funny enough. The trial is presided over by the Inquisitor, and the prosecution is handled by a Time Lord called the Valeyard. Evidence for the trial is given by showing recordings from the Gallifreyan database The Matrix. The Doctor and Peri visit Ravolox, a planet in the far future which curiously has the same mass, same distance from the Sun, same angle of tilt, and same tube stations as Earth, despite being 2 light years away from where Earth should be. Very mysterious. The big surprise of this serial is that anyone is surprised when we find out that Ravolox is actually Earth, relocated. We find out later in the season that the Time Lords moved Earth and then tried to cover it up. So my challenge for you in the comments is to explain why they would use the Doctor discovering their crimes as the first piece of evidence in their trial against him. While you're thinking about that, here's a man in a condom suit being pelted with green mashed potatoes. This section of the trial sees the Doctor and Peri visit Thoros Beta, the homeworld of Syl from last season's Vengeance on Varos. Syl and his mentor Kiv have been performing weird genetic experiments on various captives, including King Yrkanos, one of the most soft-spoken and restrained men in the galaxy. Just kidding, it's Brian Blessed. If you're going to watch this serial, you're probably going to want ear defenders. The experiments have left Kiv with a brain too big for his skull, so they're looking to find him a replacement body. Their options are a guy who looks exactly like Kiv but with a bigger skull, and Peri. Naturally, they choose Peri, so Kiv joins the growing list of Doctor Who characters who only want Peri for her body. Heartbreakingly, Kiv and Syl are successful, and Kiv possesses Peri just before the Doctor is ripped out of time by the Time Lords and taken to the trial. So Peri is actually dead. 100%, no take-backsies. Which is sad news for the Doctor, and for me, because videos with Peri in the thumbnail always seem to do better. No idea why. Now that the trial is caught up to the Doctor's present, you'd think that the evidence would be done, but you'd be wrong. Since this is the Time Lords we're talking about, we can actually look forward into the Doctor's future and judge him for things he hasn't even done yet. We join this story with the Doctor already travelling with Mel, and basically no context about who Mel is or how she started travelling with the Doctor. But don't worry, because outside of Expanded Universe stuff, we won't ever find out. I gather she comes from a place called Pease Pottage, but that's it. Mel's just there. This serial sees Mel and the Doctor aboard a Starliner, where people are being killed off in true whodunit fashion by Vervoids, a group of genetically engineered plants, grotesque, horrible things far too graphic to show on YouTube, who were created to be slaves and rebelled against their creators. The Vervoid plan to wipe out all life on Earth, and the Doctor is forced to consider eradicating their species. Of course, the Doctor takes this all very seriously. Do I have the right, etc. There's a whole speech about how wiping out the Vervoids would make him just as bad as them. I think it just got cut for time. As it is in the episode as aired, he simply finds a way to wipe out all of them in one go and just does it, which leads the Valeyard watching the Matrix recording to rightfully call this out as genocide. The Doctor argues that this can't be right. His memories of events seen in the trial don't match with what's been shown in the Matrix recordings, which leads the Doctor to believe that the Matrix has been messed with. And you know what? I think he's right, because I'm sure Morpheus said, "What if I told you?" But I can't find it anywhere. It's not in the movie. I even looked in the transcript. Before the trial can conclude, though, the Master bursts in by jacking into the Matrix feed just to prove that it's possible. He reveals that the Valeyard is in fact an amalgamation of the darker sides of the Doctor's nature somewhere between their 12th and final incarnation. Which sounds cool, but is also just vague enough to be frustrating. Is he a future Doctor? Is he split from the Doctor? Is he a possible future Doctor that can be prevented? Somewhere between 12th and final incarnation is a pretty firm spot in the timeline to place him, if we assume that the Doctor, like most Time Lords, will only have 13 incarnations. If the Doctor gets more than that, it's vague enough to mean basically nothing. If it were to turn out that the Doctor could have infinite regenerations and therefore none could ever really be called final, then we might as well just give up on ever getting any answers as to who the Valeyard is. Anyway, regardless of all that, the Valeyard is here now, and it turns out he's been doctoring the Matrix footage to make the Doctor look bad. Peri's not even dead. She married Brian Blessed. The Valeyard escapes into the Matrix, and the Doctor gives chase with the help of Mel, a companion that he hasn't actually met yet, and Sabalon Glitz, a companion that he has met that I didn't bother to mention. The Valeyard then leads them through the Matrix, while complaining that the Doctor existing is putting a real crimp in his plans to be evil. The Valeyard wants to steal the Doctor's regenerations and then live as an independent entity. Or at least I think that's what he's doing. It's a little hard to tell because he'll never just speak plainly. All his lines are stuff like, "There's nothing you can do to prevent the catharsis of spurious morality." Like, what does that even mean? That's just going to be my response to everything now. Anyway, they defeat him, but he manages to escape by jumping into a million bad fan theories. The Doctor is acquitted of all his crimes because the Time Lords don't really give a shit about Vervoids anyway. He and Mel head off in the TARDIS for more adventures, ignoring the fact that the Doctor hasn't actually met Mel from his perspective yet. Timelines be damned. That's it for Trial of a Time Lord. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. But it doesn't matter if you don't. There's nothing you can do to prevent the catharsis of spurious morality.